Teresa Scorsett. This is Robin Hensel. The program is Can We Talk? Today is Wednesday, the 8th of February, 2017. And our topic is a continuation of the last program that we filmed. We're talking about Spectrum Charter, their agreement with the city, and just a multitude of issues surrounding that. So let's get started with that, Robin.
And cable television in general.
And cable in general, yes.
And we're going to go into more in depth about a whole bunch of things during this hour than we had time for last time. I forgot to tell the people and show this during the last segment, and I should have, that I reached out to the city of St. Cloud to ask their city clerk, whose name is Greg Engholm, I believe, for a copy of their cable television franchise ordinance. It's law. And he was kind enough to send this to me via email that very day. And the city of St. Cloud, basically they cite in here the Minnesota Cable Communications Act means the provision of Minnesota law governing the requirements for a cable television franchise as set forth in Minnesota Statute 238 as amended. They had several public hearings before this was implemented on May 4th of 2015. And I brought up at the cable board meeting here recently on Monday, the 6th of February, if St. Cloud could do it, why couldn't we do it? And the cable review board members said, well, they probably had a lot more options. I don't know that that's true.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, they're under the same federal communications rules, and they have city rules, they have charter.
Well, see, one of the big obstacles for people to do business here, and it may be more expensive down there than it is here, but the city has a $7,500 requirement for them to meet in order to do business here, to do the cable franchise. And most companies, that's a big chunk of money, $7,500. We had CTC looking into being a provider. The city looked into that to see if there was another option besides charter, and they didn't want to do it. And that may have, that and the insurance to do with it may have been enough to stop them from wanting to do it. There's a lot of responsibility with doing what Spectrum is doing, and they're a big company. They've got, it's a huge company, whereas opposed to these other smaller companies that do business here may not have the finances behind them.
Right.
I want to read the statute, the franchise agreement, 2016 Minnesota Statutes, 238.08 says, franchise requirement, subdivision 1, requirement conditions. A municipality shall require a franchise or extension permit of any cable communication system providing service within the municipality. We have no extension permit that I'm aware of. If people want to look this up, they can do the research. It lists everything. All those statutes are under the 238, the definitions and all of it. Now, when I contacted John Rademacher a while back,
And that's John is
our city administrator here, and asked him, when I was digging through this 238, I found this. It's number 238.115, cable provider complaints. It says, a cable communications system holding a franchise to provide cable communications services in any area of this state must immediately provide a consumer complaint telephone number to any person who calls the system or its agent and asks for a consumer complaint number. The number provided must be the telephone number of a person or agency that is unaffiliated with the cable communication system and that is organized to provide assistance to complaining consumers.
Right. So if we had a franchise, there should be a phone number people can call to complain about.
Right, and it's the city's responsibility to set that up, not charter.
Right.
So what does Rademacher do? He gets a hold of charter and asks them for the number. He talked to Brenda Osborne, and she gave some telephone numbers. Well, I have no interest in talking to charter about the concerns that I have, or Spectrum about the concerns I have. I want to talk to the city people, and the city is obligated to develop that.
Yes.
Not just for me to be able to have access to for complaints. It's everybody. It's you, folks. All 2,000 plus of you that are paying into cable, charter, spectrum, whatever you want to call it, to have your television, internet, phone. You have a right that the city provide you a telephone number for your consumer complaints. So I'm going to say that the city better get on it and get that going, because they're in violation of that state statute. That's not cool.
No. And they have been for a while.
No, the other thing is, the city is also not compliant in this. This is also part of the Federal Communications Act of 1984. Cable television, where to file complaints regarding cable service. It says the Federal Communications Commission and local franchising authorities are responsible for enforcing a variety of cable television regulations. The Commission expects cable operators to follow all of its rules and regulations. It also says cable systems with 1,000 or more subscribers, which Little Falls is, because we have 2,000 plus customers here, are required to maintain certain documents in a public inspection file. These documents include a political programming file, sponsorship identification, EEO reports, which I don't know what that is, but commercial records for children's programming, because there's supposed to be children's programming going on cable access, least access requirements, proof of performance tests, and signal leakage and repair logs. These are available for public inspection and copying. In addition, systems must have a current copy of Part 76 of the Commission's rules, which cover cable television. We don't have that either. So let's revisit this now. We don't have the franchise fee, which is required by federal law.
The franchise, you said we don't have a franchise
agreement.
fee. All right, okay.
Franchise agreement, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's number one. Congress passed a law stating every city that allows a cable provider or an internet provider to come into a city has to have a franchise agreement. We don't have that. The second one we're not compliant with is number 238. The Minnesota statute that says we have to comply, have to have a franchise agreement. Then we don't have this file with all this information in that we're supposed to have. This public inspection file. That is not available. And there's no telephone number that's required for us to call if we have a complaint. Those are big items, folks. So when there's this public hearing that's called in March to air your beefs or your complaints, or maybe you want to just go in there and praise how much you like Spectrum Television and you like the amount they're charging you or any of that, please come to the public hearing when it's called in March. It'll be publicized in the paper.
We hope.
Okay, so now we're going to get down to some nitty-gritty about Great River TV specifically. And we're going to continue with some of the bullet points of the contract, the policy and procedure that I believe is in force right now, that's adopted November 12th, 2014. These are the policies that control everything that goes on in this studio. Individuals and entities producing or submitting programs are defined as the producer. Everyone making a first-time submission or programming to GRA-TV must complete a cablecast request form. We were only asked to do that within the last couple of months. Prior to that, we hadn't been asked to do that.
Yeah.
These are the rules. It says producers who are found to violate these rules may have their telecast privileges suspended for a period of time. Now, nowhere in this document does it state that there's any teeth or mandatory compliance that GRA-TV has to abide by this, except that it does state in the agreement between the city and GRA-TV that they are to abide by rules associated with all of those acts and that city agreement.
The state, the federal, and city agreements.
Right. It says here at the bottom of page 4, program length, GRA TV programs may be on any length, preferably 30 or 60 minutes. This is why Chris never made a big deal if we went over 5 or 7 minutes when we were filming a Can We Talk or anything else. It wasn't a big deal because it didn't really matter. It's just for the convenience of
because programming was not
starting
that tight,
it right on the time.
Right.
Whatever. It also says, and this is what I question, because I was told by Mark that he would. Then this wasn't right away, but maybe after 1 or 2 times where he helped me out with getting my little SD card off my camera and then putting it on TV. He said I would have to do my own editing at home and take it off the card and bring it back in a DVD form. Okay? It says here on page 5 at the top, all programs should have titles and credits recorded from either a character generator or from an acceptable lettered camera card.
Okay. What is it? What is that?
Well, the lettered camera card is the little SD card that goes into my camera that I record on.
Okay.
That he said I wouldn't be able to. He's shaking his head here, so I don't know. But that to me, that means that a person bringing in a program to be aired on this channel can bring it in on an acceptable lettered camera card.
See, I would have thought that would be a piece of poster board with words on it, and Mark is saying yes, that's what it meant.
Oh, maybe. Okay, maybe I got that wrong. Who knows? Okay, so equipment facility use will be scheduled on a non-discriminatory first come first served basis. No beef there. But here's the violations. Wait, I'll go back to this page here. Because there's violations. There's teeth in this for users. Suspension of privileges. Number 11. The GRA TV staff may refuse the use of facilities and services of transmission center to individuals who interfere with the orderly conduct of community or public access programming as outlined in this document. The staff of GRA TV may refuse to lend equipment or schedule editing time and equipment to anyone who has in the past misused the equipment, failed to return it on time, or in any way abused the privileges of using community access and equipment and facilities. So, scheduling editing time is something that can be done here. That's in this contract. A major violation are these things. And it says, in order for these rules, regulations, and policies to be effective and to keep operations running as smoothly as possible, a penalty system is established as follows. A major violation is a commercial or profit-making use of equipment or facility. Falsifying a form or application, taking equipment without permission, all paperwork must be completely filled out, abuse of equipment or facilities, including attempted repairs, abuse of staff or volunteers, being under the influence of in GRA TV facilities or a GRA TV shoot. A minor violation is a late pickup or return of equipment, mishandling of equipment, eating, drinking, smoking in areas not allowed. The penalties for violations are as follows. A minor violation, a first occurrence, a verbal warning, a second occurrence, a written warning, a third occurrence, a 60-day suspension. And that's for any of those minor violations I just listed. A major violation is an automatic 90-day suspension. If disputes or disagreements occur between a potential or actual GRA-TV user and the staff of GRA-TV, ATV, the access user can request in writing a meeting with the Cable Review Board. Then it says training, item number 12. Upon request to use GRA facilities or equipment, programmer must demonstrate knowledge of operation of the equipment. 1 2-hour training session consisting of equipment or orientation, editing, and a field orientation can be scheduled with GRA TV. Additional training time subject to staff availability with reimbursement of staff cost. So you got to pay to get extra training here.
Does it say how much?
Appeals procedure. Any individual or entity who has a program prohibited from being cablecast and believes their programming not to be in violation of access rules can request a review by the city cable board.
Now, when you talk about a review by the cable board, does that mean a special meeting called just for your complaint?
That's the cable review board that just met here this Monday.
So you don't have to wait a month or two until they're meeting again.
Right. Okay, I wrote to Greg Zilka, Leif Hansen, who's my Ward 1 representative, and to, actually just to them, and later I wrote, or maybe I called John Rademacher to file my complaint. This email says, consider this my official complaint. It is complete with details. And I sent them my blog that's titled Little Falls Cable Board Violates, and I can't remember the rest of the title of it, but I sent them my blog so that they would understand, they'd see everything that was listed on my blog, because I didn't want to have to repeat all that, and I can't send a bunch of documents in emails. I can only send like 2. So that they could see everything, all the pictures and documents that I had up there, I just put it on my blog and let them see that it was on my blog.
Right.
Okay? So I'm just going to start with, actually, the reason for that complaint was that I believe that I'm just going to start with the top of the pile.
Okay.
I basically have said to Jill Moore and to John Rademacher and Greg Zilka and Leif Hansen that I believe that the GRA TV is violating their own rules and policies.
In what way?
Because it says in here, I'm going to have to dig for this now. It basically says on one of the pages in here that they can't do advertisements or fundraising.
So they can't do commercials, is what you're saying.
Right. But I believe that is what's been happening.
And you base that on?
Well, God darn it, I don't know if I...
Lost without her paperwork.
It's on my blog, folks. And my blog is robinhensel.blogspot.com. And you can look at that blog and find it. If I can find it right now. I must have grabbed a different copy. I had it highlighted in another part. And so I'll just go to this. This is part of that blog. Today, 1/23/17, I asked Jill Moore, the manager of Great River Arts, has public access contract with City of Little Falls about the fact the current policies and procedures states that programming which involve fundraising and advertisements will not be cablecast on available channels. Her answer to this was, I don't know that it's not open to all businesses, because I said, why, you're going to broadcast everybody's advertisement for all the businesses in town then?
And for free? Because I thought that there would have been a...
They can't charge.
Right.
Then I point out again that the policy is clear that they can't cablecast advertisements or fundraising. I state it is troublesome that they are violating their own policy. Then Jill says, Robin, thank you for your information and thank you for pointing that out, and we'll make some amendments and some adjustments and add that to our list. Then I say that's all well and good, but they are in current violation of their own policy, in other words, GRATV. Then Jill says, we'll make the adjustments in the meantime then. In other words, they can violate their policies, but the public can't without consequences.
Right.
I don't think that's right.
Well, what were the specific violations?
Well, I'm going to let the public judge for themselves.
Okay.
And you haven't seen these either, probably.
Okay.
These were all put up on the cable, it's called the carousel or the character generator.
Mm-hmm.
That says Mardi Gras fundraiser.
For the Boys and Girls Club.
Falls Ballroom, it's for the Boys and Girls Club. Bring your own bottle, food sampling, silent auction, games, live music, and Stone Road, by Stone Road. Tickets, $25. It lists the place you can buy them.
So this would be a fundraiser.
I don't know what else would be a fundraiser except if they had people in here like we're filming today and said, now we're going to raffle off this and that and the other thing. That could be what that means. But it's troublesome that there are advertisements for groups being published with ticket fees on the cable, on the generator.
Right.
And I wonder if, for instance, you and I wanted to put up something saying that we were going to raise 50 cents each to sell certain bubble gums, if we could do that too. Little Falls Area Chamber of Commerce, $30 reservation.
For their annual meeting.
For their annual meeting. And this is a fundraiser. Mm-hmm. We know that because we were members of the Senior Center.
Right.
And this is one of their biggest fundraisers, their pancake breakfast. And it's listed at the $7 adult charge. How to analyze the news. Morrison County Historical Society, advertising a charge of $50 to the public. Great River Arts is advertising for an event here, listing the ticket price of $18. Now these were all published on Channel 180.
On the character generator.
This is concerning. This is part of the Shops of Little Falls. And when these shows were aired, the first thing that you see is this image, okay? This is a valid business. This is not a nonprofit. These are artists like I am that have to have a sales tax number to operate and do business here in town in the state of Minnesota. So these are little businesses that are operating inside the facility that Susie Persapio owns, the building, the old Thielen building called Shops of Little Falls.
Right.
This group is not a nonprofit group. These are business people.
It's for profit.
Just as much so as the Lux Studio and Bonjo's and the movie theater and everybody else, all the other businesses, Ray's Smoke Shop and all of them in town. A valid business, and this is being advertised. In fact, since this was filmed in this studio, it's played 11 times on this station. I know, I have the proof with me. Mm-hmm. This is one image showing the interior of the building where the artist products that are for sale are shown.
And this was also...
This was all... I can't
all
record this and put it on my blog because I've now been told I can't do that. That would be violating their rules. So I took still images to show. There's the price tags hanging on there. Oops.
You don't want to lose your sound.
Nope. Okay, there we go. Here it shows the outside of the shop. The location downtown. Shows the outside of the building. Here are the individual artists that were in here that day, promoting their artwork.
They were here.
They had their product here. They were selling it. Here's Mr. Meyer, Dave Meyer. I think. No, that's the wrong name. He's the bowl artist. He's married to Roxanne.
Very pretty.
He sells his woodworking stuff. Here's another gal selling her stuff.
And that was in this studio?
Yeah, it was filmed here.
Wow.
Mark filmed it.
Wow, okay.
And that's Christina Von Berg, and says Director of Little Falls Convention and Business Bureau. She was helping promote their product. Okay? When I asked Jill Moore about a week ago if I could film my artwork in here, she never answered me.
Robin does some very fine pieces, by the way.
Here's another advertisement for the Little Falls Holiday Concert, charging $3 the high school was advertising. So my point is, about all of this to me, if this isn't advertisement, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And if it's legal for all of these groups, these individual artists that were filmed in the shops of
Little Falls.
Little Falls. Guess who's going to be advertising in here next, folks? Her product. You can guess.
Well, anyone could.
Yeah. But any business, evidently, can put up anything they want in the character generator that advertises their business or their fundraiser. So we need to start doing that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you to do a full story on my artwork, since I've come to town and run a business here and where I'm at now with my artwork and what I'm doing and how I'm promoting it and all that. Okay. I have a valid sales tax number and I'm a valid business person.
There we are.
So that's another whole show. That's going to be upcoming.
Okay.
All right? So there we're done with that. Now, I want to point out to the public that you and I filmed a brand new show in here called Church and State. That was on December 21st, okay? Mm-hmm. And since that filming, I immediately the day after that filming, on December 22nd, I sent a letter to Mark and Heather Jorgensen, who does the character generator, those things that are up on that carousel. And I say, would you please create a character generator and or whatever you call it for our new regular show called Church and State, a Local View, with days and times it will air so the public is made aware of it.
Right.
Please publicize it as soon as you can. I would also like to know those dates and times, so I can alert folks who will want to watch. I never got a response, nor has that ever been done. Okay?
Okay.
The Shops of Little Falls program has aired 11 times since Mark filmed that. Our new show, that's a regular show that we plan to film every month. And we are, by the way, the only private citizens, local citizens here, doing a free speech type show in this studio. Mm-hmm. Our show has only been aired twice. Once on Friday the 20th at 3:30 p.m. January. And once in February, and that was at 1 p.m. on the 3rd of February. So how come something that's produced that benefits artists, and this Great River Arts as well, I might add, has been aired 11 times, but our program, that's just as important, and it says right in their rules that we're to be treated in a fair manner, consistently, how come ours only twice has aired, but theirs 11 times?
Do you know when that first Shops of Little Falls piece was produced?
Yeah, I can tell you. I can tell you. I got it all right here.
Because that might have something to do with how often it's been aired.
Well, it was aired for the first time in December.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have, this is a stack of everything that's put on that character generator.
This is a character generator, right.
Every day, what's playing on. So I have the proof of everything. And I do that every day. Because I realize I have to have the proof because we're not being treated consistently fairly. Right. Now, here's another thing. It was also during that time that Mark Sloop went and filmed, or had, I don't know if he did it, somebody did, filmed the Christmas parade. And the Christmas parade,
the day after Thanksgiving,
was aired 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. But not our program. So that, to me, is a legitimate complaint. And this is the first time, okay, thank you. This is the first time I'm complaining about that. So you heard it here first, folks. Now this contract that we had to sign, which was on the 14th of December, that was just before we filmed, it was the day we filmed Karen
Schroffnagel, yeah.
I believe.
And she was talking about Islamophobia.
Islamophobia.
Yeah.
Okay. Says something interesting here, and I've found a lot of different things like this from other television stations, but none that say this. Any material that violates town, state, or federal laws, including but not limited to those related to, and this is the one that it troubles me. The word sedition is in here.
You know, that troubled me too. We talked about that a little bit.
And sedition, of course, means doing something to provoke violence or disruption of your government. Why in the world is that word sedition in there? And I think I know who constructed this contract. And it would have been Scott Wunderlich, the public defender here in town. And this is troubling. And in fact, I am in conversations now with one of my former attorneys about this, because that's odd that that's in there. It's not in any other user agreement that I have ever found.
And you're concerned that it might be applied very loosely.
Well, I think it's in there because of me.
Okay.
I have reason to suspect all of this stuff is because it's me. And it's what I have to say. It's always that, isn't it?
Well, has been
For
so
the last
far,
6
yes.
years? Okay. So, we never got that character generator that advertised our program of church and state, which is very important. It's just as important as any church
Any
service
political,
that's aired
yeah.
on this station.
Yes.
I'm a minister, Herb is a minister, and we're talking about church and state issues that are very important. Very important. In fact, I've invited Ron Krisha, our local legislator, to join us for the next Church of State, one of those earrings in March that I've reserved the studio for those 3 dates. I hope he'll come and discuss H.R. 400, which is the anti-BDS bill that he introduced at the legislature yesterday.
BDS being
A boycott, divest, and sanctions against Israel. Because Israel is committing crimes against humanity, crimes against Palestinians. That's a whole other topic. We'll get into that later because that's a long subject. But this church and state program is very important. There will be some upcoming stuff that's really going to be hot and heated about things that are happening in this state, challenges that are being given to freedom from religious organization from Wisconsin. Okay, so this is another thing. This character generator thing that they created for me, advertising our interest in having people join an Islamophobia group, and again, Minnesotans Against Islamophobia. That was finally put up on the character generator after it was created, and it didn't take a long time, but all of a sudden it disappeared. Wasn't no longer on the character generator. And so I wrote an email to Mark, because I happened to notice it wasn't on there. I paid close attention. I'm going to get my money's worth from my subscription to cable.
Cable, yeah.
I wrote on December 22nd. All of a sudden, in December, it disappears. Just before all that stuff from Karen was to air.
Oh my goodness,
See?
yeah.
I'm wondering why you removed the Minnesota Against Islamophobia announcement after telling me in this email that you would let it run until I asked you to stop airing it. The reason, Teresa, and I wanted it to run for an extended period of time was so that it would be running while the 2 shows with Karen Schroffnagel were being aired, as well as the other shows with Dr. Todd Green, Mark German, and Sammy Rasuli. I request you put it back on the generator until after I ask you to remove it. And because there was an email where Mark said that he'd keep it running until I informed him to take it off. There was no explanation as to how come that fell off. I think I know why, but that's just me. Now we're going to talk about Can We Talk? This show we're having today. This is what you see on the character generator advertising our show. For the entire time that we've done filming in here until, I believe it was December.